Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can. How you doing? Thanks for being my first guinea pig.
This is fun.
I know we've been talking about doing some sort of video or podcast collaboration for years. So finally we get to do it, even if it's like a super casual, informal surprise.
Yeah. It looks warm and sunny and I'm jealous.
It is. I wish you were here. So instead, I'm just going to tap into your creative mastermind to get all your passion projects up in the front.
Okay.
Happening. So I don't know the appropriate way to do this. I probably should introduce you and tell like people who you are, but I'm just going to have you give like a 30-second intro on who you are and what you do that is, what you do that you love and what your Dharma is, like what you're doing that's living your purpose.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to say my favorite thing in the entire world is facilitating people to really get in touch and know themselves inside and out. What I mean by that is trusting your truth, whatever that is. What's true for you is not always going to be true for someone else, but it's true for you. And when you live by that, then you choose for you.
Perfect. How'd you get into this path?
Well, I would say that I've been facilitating people since I was a little kid. Even when I was a kid, I remember sitting on the toilet while my aunt was getting ready to go on a date and facilitating her about her going on her date.
Yeah, you're the natural coach.
But ultimately, I chose a pretty ugly first relationship and spent a long time in that relationship to the point where I wanted to die to get out of it. When I chose to live instead of take my own life, I knew that I needed to figure out something else so that I, A, never went back, and B, figured out why I stayed in it for so long. So I started an inner child therapy program that was very intensive. It bridged 5 different modalities together. And through that, I was empowered to choose for myself. I was empowered to get out of that relationship and changed my life. And so then I wanted to study what I knew so that I can help other people. And that's how I began. And from there, over the past 25 years, I've studied everything I think there is to study on the planet, from psychology to natural medicine, every energetic body process modality, anything that contributes to people. I've studied it.
Yeah, this is why you're my favorite go-to person to ask questions of anything that pops up or anything new.
Well, and relationships are my favorite thing. I love people. I love studying them and what it is that makes them click and choose what they choose and where they come from. And I just love relationships in general. I'm kind of like the sappy romantic personally in my own life, and then I take everything I've learned and I try to apply that and contribute to others.
Is that your favorite category to work with? The relationship
is my favorite. Relationship and your own relationship to yourself and your body, and relationship to your body with yourself and others. All of that combined is my favorite.
Do you like to work with people by themselves or with the couples, or sometimes
so
both? Your preference?
I like both. I definitely like both. Typically, it's rare that I will work with a couple straight out of the gate. I'll have a conversation with them as a couple, and then typically it's rare that I'll work with a couple straight out of the gate, because typically people haven't done their own individual work, and before you can work on something that's going on between the two of you, you have to really get in touch with what's going on for yourself.
Yeah.
So I'll typically split them apart and work with them together individually first, and then bring it back to the couple.
What's your absolute favorite tool?
My absolute favorite tool would probably be choice. And I say that because we are such potent beings that when we literally want to choose something and we instill that, we will do whatever it takes to get there. And the biggest limitation is when we don't actually choose that. And so my question always is, what do you really want to be choosing? Because if you're not making it happen, it's probably not what you really want to be choosing.
Yeah. Especially for people like you and I that make choices and take swift action to make it happen really quickly. So
Well,
it's a very
the cool
loaded
thing
question.
about that is, yeah, the cool thing is as soon as you choose something, you get everything you need to know about it, and then you're like, wait a minute, I don't want that. I want to
Yeah.
choose something else.
So what are you choosing differently, or what are you working on with new beginnings in this whole, I realize that I'm frozen, but you can hear me at least, um, during this like unique time that we're in. Like,
Well,
what are you
for
launching or creating, or what, like what new beginnings are you embracing during this?
Well, it's been interesting. So because I love relationships so much, I'm looking at this whole time where we're like stay home, and I'm noticing like people are like either you're home alone because you're single and you don't have someone and all your stuff's coming up with you for you about that, or you're with somebody that you didn't want to really be with to begin with, and now you're stuck in like a
Yeah.
isolation with them and all stuff's coming up around that, or you're really like navigating your relationship on a whole new level because you have more time together. So I think regardless of what's going on in the world, it still comes right back to relationships.
Yeah. So are you
So
creating some new content around that, or what have you been
yeah, well,
launching?
I just put out an ebook. I took a snippet from my big book that I'm writing about soulmates, and created an ebook about when you're choosing to let go, and it really is designed around marriage and divorce. However, my 17-year-old son read it. He's like, Mom, you can apply that to anything. Your life doesn't actually have to be about marriage and divorce.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, and all sorts of different types of relationships, not necessarily like the formal marriage agreement.
Yeah, exactly.
You already launched that? Is that something that's coming up?
So it's actually an ebook that I want to share with the world. So I just put it out there. You just opt in and you can get it for free. And
Perfect.
it's kind of designed, well, it came from a friend of mine reached out, and she's like, I'm finally choosing to get a divorce from my husband, and what advice do you have for me? So I just wrote out some advice for her, and then realized that and she's like, it made me cry, thank you so much. And I was like, I wonder how many people could use this, especially right now. So I put it together in ebook form, and I looked at it a couple different ways. Maybe it'll contribute to people, which is the target for me. And at minimum, it gives people a kind of a taste of my style and how I view things, and the way that I write.
Yeah, I think that that's a perfect little teaser way. Is that, do
Yeah.
you use that on your website, Facebook, Instagram? Like what channels do you kick that out to?
So I just put it out. So currently you can opt in on my website. If you go to my Facebook page, you can click the button and it'll send you to opt in on my website. And I just haven't gotten on Instagram yet, but Instagram's my favorite.
Perfect. What else are you cranking out, or what else is happening inside your mind during this?
What's happening inside my mind? I don't know if we want to
All
go
of
on.
these things. Like, there's got to be some sort of creative mastermind happening over there.
Well, I'm kind of in a deep dive of writing, so I've been doing a lot of that. You get some time where you're not required to be out anywhere else in the world. It gives you more freedom for that. So I've been doing that. I also have a lot of business clients that I do a lot of work for,
Yeah.
and right now I've opened the door to take on 5 new personal clients. So if
Oh,
anybody's looking
good.
for some personal facilitation on life, relationship, or
Sure.
anything else, that's open too.
Give me 3 words that embody your business vision and your excitement and enthusiasm for what you do for your private client work.
3 words, gosh.
That's off the cusp. 3 words that inspire you.
Well, laughter is one of them. Like laughing, I think laughing will change anything. If you can find humor in whatever's going on in your life, laughing will really help that. So I use a lot of jokes and laughter in my life and with my clients and
Mhm.
everything that I do. Um, and I would say personal empowerment, just really knowing that you can do it. When I first started this journey, I was in a place where I couldn't even consider the idea of a restraining order. I couldn't even think about it. It was crazy. Like It took me, I think, 6 sessions before I even allowed myself to drive by a courthouse and think about restraining orders in the context of other people having them. I couldn't
Yeah.
even personalize it at all.
Yeah, you
So,
channeled your way.
yeah, yeah. So personal empowerment and, I'd say adventure. Life is an adventure. And,
Yeah.
if you're not having fun and you're not really living this life, then what the heck are you doing?
Is that what you would say I was going to ask you what your biggest passion in this life is, but I feel like you just answered that with your adventure.
Yeah. Like if I could do any, I'm still parenting, so I'm kind of locked into doing life on terms of for my kids a little bit. But if I could do anything in the world, I would just love to travel the entire globe and have conversations with people and inspire them to know that they actually know something more than they allow themselves to know, and they probably have a pretty amazing superpower that they can contribute to others on the planet. That's what I would be doing.
Well, why can't you do that?
Well, I can. I'm right now, I'm devoted right now to my children and making sure that they get, through high school slash
Of
college
course.
because they're
Yeah,
doing that. Yeah.
but that's the future plan.
Yeah, the future plan. Like, I'm on the home stretch. I only got a couple more years of full-time parenting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way to do it. You get to share your gifts with everyone all over the world.
And I'll start with Florida with my friend
Yeah,
Nicole.
come on down. We all miss you here. It's been a long time. How many years has it been since you've been gone? 3?
Almost 2.5. Yeah.
2.5. Yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty close to that. Time flies when you're having fun out in
Been
the
a
cold
chunk. Yeah.
Northeast.
It's
Or
still
South,
cold. I'm
rather.
like, I wish I was in
Yeah.
Florida. I'm looking at I've been to that house and I'm like, oh, I wish I was there.
Yeah, I know. Well, don't let it fool you. It rained all day yesterday, so it's not always perfect. It's close. Um, tell me one thing that needs to get out of your way for you to like one thing that needs to shift for you to get out of your own way. Like
So
what's
my
your
biggest ask,
big
yeah, my
element of
biggest ask in this 10 seconds is to see myself because I've been asking for about 2 or 3 years now. Like there's something about me I don't know that other people see in me that I've never allowed myself to see. So see myself and then allow myself to be seen. So those two things are like front and center in my personal development journey.
and what do you think that might look like for you? Like more public
Choice.
visibility? Well, choice, of course, but I mean, like, how might that look differently in your business or to the world?
Yeah, just putting myself out there more. I spend so much time building other people's businesses behind the scenes that I don't give my own self and my own business enough attention for sure.
Yeah, I can relate to that world
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, and this is kind of an interesting time in the world because everybody's launching something and there's less excuses as far as time and energy and a lot of this stuff is free, so it's just a matter of just doing it and
Right.
launching and connecting all
Well,
of this.
now's the time to be online.
Yeah.
And some of us, I've been online doing Zoom calls for so many years now that it's natural to me to do this. But for a lot of people, getting on video is so foreign, and it really requires a little bit different muscle to communicate with somebody on a video with that screen in front of you versus human to human contact.
Sure. Well, and I think it's easier for us now because we don't have a choice, right? Like it was harder
Yeah.
when, like, why would I Zoom with you when I can just have coffee with you or, whatever, reunite with you in some fashion. And now that feels really far off in the ethers, it
Right.
makes it a
Exactly.
lot more human connection to see your face. Almost
Yeah.
like being in the same room.
Almost.
Almost. Um, what's your ultimate, so you travel the world, share your gifts, kind of connect with people, but like
Yeah,
if
like
you do,
I might just be traveling the world, through Zoom, like I've been doing, because who knows what we're going to be doing. I heard that we're, that canceling passports. It's kind
well,
of crazy.
let's not go down that combo. Let's hope that God that doesn't happen. But yeah, I mean, it is a way to travel internationally, right? Like you could be connecting with people all over the world at any given point. any time of the day and sharing your gifts that way. And they still get to feel your energy in such a powerful way.
Right.
So this is the baby steps towards the bigger picture. What's your ultimate dream? I mean, that is the ultimate dream, but like if you knew you could be supported and there was no risk, or it wasn't necessarily something that you already had prepared for, like what is the one thing you would do?
That's it. Like
Is that
I
it? Is
would
that the same
really
thing?
like to just make contact with, like I've known on my personal journey that, you come in contact with different people, and they all play some kind of a role in your life. And, just making contact with more people, because you never know who is going to inspire you or who you're going to inspire, that's going to create the change on the planet that we're all asking for.
Yeah. And where would your big hitters be about places you would go or places you would travel
Well,
or
I mean,
visit?
I have a
I
soft
mean, we
spot for
know
kids.
Florida, but
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a soft spot for kids. So, anywhere that I could go to, like, reach more kids. I mean, they're the next generation. They're the people that are going to be taking, the bigger leaps beyond here. So if
yeah,
anywhere that I could reach more kids, I've often, dreamt of like volunteering my time in an orphanage in some other country or something.
yeah. You'd be amazing at that. And that's something that you could be doing virtually too, right? Like there's an opportunity to connect to kids worldwide on this platform also.
Yeah, possibility for that.
Yeah. Do you see your focus on relationships kind of shifting into something more with kids, or
Well,
relationship and kids, or
I love working with couples a lot. I love working in that, and I also do a lot of work with parents. I've been parenting consistently for 30 years. So crazy to think about. And I'm still going. Like that's the crazy part, is like I'm
yeah.
not even my last one. Um, and so I have a lot of experience in parenting, and you can't. I always say you can't actually get it wrong if you fundamentally have the best interest at heart for your children. You can't get it wrong, because you're never going to get it right. It does not matter how much you try to be the greatest parent. There's still going to be something your kids are going to be like mad at you about. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Like I fed my kids organic whole food, like from scratch, and they're all like, we had to eat the weirdest food and we never got to have, whatever.
Yeah. That
So
was us
it,
when we were kids too. So
so it just doesn't even matter what it is. So I like working with parents and simultaneously kids. Your kids never really have a problem. It's a parent problem, not a kid problem. When you work on you, your kids automatically get it. Like every time I've done any big work on myself, my kids just changed automatically. It's the most bizarre, interesting, and awesome thing that I've experienced.
yeah, I think that that's true for so many people, especially like even when we were all kids and struggling, and the ways in which we got help often would have been much different if they had started with our parents, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, so what else do I have for you? What's your most exciting thing on the schedule for the next month?
Well, I mean, I have so many things going on in the next month, because I do a lot of business stuff. But really, I think right now for me is the opening the doors to getting new one-on-one individual personal clients, as well as launching the ebook, which is a small portion of my bigger book that I'm writing about soulmates that I'm really super excited about.
And you're already in the process of that, and that's plugging along.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Awesome. And what do you what do you think that your next big thing to share with the world will be? Will it be that book, or will it be another type of project, or
In this 10 seconds, I would say it's the book, but who knows what's going to show up tomorrow. Like I didn't know a week ago that I was going to launch an ebook, and
yeah,
it just showed up. So
yeah.
whatever it wants to be, it'll
All
show up.
the all the info is in here, right?
Right. I mean, maybe it'll be 10 more ebooks, when I shared the ebook with my daughter, she's like, Mom, what if you just wrote a whole bunch of those? Because,
Yeah.
all your little stories. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really fun way to kind of get in front of people, and they get a quick read and get a chance to get to know you. And you've been
Exactly.
like chewing on some podcast fun too, right? Is that something that
Well, so I do have a podcast that I was doing with someone else, and then things changed. We went different directions, and it's actually been screaming at me to come back. So I'm working on relaunching that in a solo series versus what I was doing before.
and do you know what that'll be called or what that's going to be?
Well, it's gonna stay the same. It's called Laugh It Out because laughing is my thing. I like that, but it'll be it'll be similar, but it'll just won't be the two people. It'll be me, and I'll talk about what I like to do is I like to talk about serious subjects that we're all going through, but then I add in stories and humor because my life has a lot of funny
Yeah.
stories and joking and humor. So.
Well, and you have to
Because
laugh
if we
about it
can laugh at
after.
the things, yeah. If we can laugh at the things, then we can change them.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you for your parting words and what the best advice or wisdom you have to share with people that are trying to follow their passion or really like do something that they're passionate about or what they love. Is that what
Well,
you circle back to?
the number one thing that I would say is be willing to screw it up because you can't actually get it perfect and right because what does that even mean, really? So if
Yeah.
you're willing to get it wrong and you're willing to screw it up, it'll probably be a lot more fun and it'll go a lot farther and you'll relate to a lot more people because when we're looking at people who we're like seeing that everything's just perfect and in line, there's like a degree of separation where we're like, yeah, that's cool. I'd really like to be that person. I'd really like that to be my life, but that's not my life because I'm over here. My life's really screwed up. But
Yeah.
if someone shows up and they're just them and raw version of themselves, and you don't have that separation of relating to them, then like it's more of a comforting connection to where you can feel inspired by their story a lot more because it's real. It's not, there's not that separation. So yeah, just do it. Just do it wrong, do it like messed up, laugh at yourself, have fun, and it'll go a lot farther.
And what's your best advice on the way in which to laugh at yourself? I mean, like, I feel like that's such a hard
I mean,
process
I'm laughing
to
at
get
myself
comfortable.
right
Like
now
we laugh at
because
ourselves, right? But how did we start doing that, or what made that start to be more comfortable, or what was the way? Do you even
well,
remember?
I am a recovering perfectionist for sure. And I'm not even recovered yet. Like
Yeah,
I
I was
want to
like,
say like
I don't.
even on this video, I'm like, oh, like I probably should have positioned my camera differently because you're seeing my door crack back there.
It's okay. I'm also off centered and I'm not as bright as I should be, considering the fact that I'm like in a sunny room and,
Yeah. So
I mean, I've done all that stuff too, so don't worry.
I mean, even in this moment, like I'm laughing at myself on the inside while we're doing this because as prepared as I wasn't really that prepared, and I'm winging it. Like that, you're
Yeah,
just getting the rawest, weirdest version of myself, and that's cool. And it's
exactly what
funny
we
to me.
want.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and this is why
So
you're so good at what you
where
do.
that came from, I don't know. I just remember way back in my early days when I was doing my inner child work, like if you looked at my life looked picture perfect from the outside. I had all of my ducks in a row. I presented perfect. I was always like, put together. And even though I was in an abusive relationship, nobody believed me because it looked so perfect on the outside
Yeah,
because I didn't let anybody in. And so when I was in that program, I literally had to let my house become a complete disaster because I needed the outsides to match the insides so that I could heal them. And I think that's really how it started, is to deliberately just let things fall apart so that I could figure out how I existed in that world.
yeah. I mean, I think that that's the way that it happens for a lot of us, right? Is like you pick yourself off the ground and then you realize like the ground wasn't so miserable after all. Then you're laughing about your time on the ground or like what you learned there or how fucking
Exactly.
hard it was or whatever.
You have to just let life get messy, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely like one of your best gifts as your friend and somebody who's worked with you on many different levels is your ability to lighten up a lot of challenging times.
Well, yeah, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for you,
I'm
Nicole.
grateful for you. And I'm excited to see what else you create and kind of what's coming up. And not just to get you back to Florida, although that's, of course, the ultimate dream is to have you snowbird here, but just to see you kind of get more publicly visible with what you share because you have so many great gifts and you help so many and people love to work with you as you're such a ray of light. So it's just a matter of kicking you out of the nest a little bit.
Kick me out. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'll fall to the ground and then I'll like
And
stumble
then you'll
around
laugh
and then
about it.
I'll fly. I don't know.
Yeah, you'll be laughing. That's the whole point.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's so much easy, when people ask me a question, like I can just, go forever. It's just when I'm trying to like off the cuff to be like, what should I talk about today?
Yeah.
That's the more challenging piece. So this is really helpful. I'm so grateful.
Well, thank you for playing with me. This is a super, this is something we've been talking about doing for years, and not just as a bigger project for me, but also you and I. And who knows? There's all sorts of opportunity for video and podcasts and collaboration.
Yeah, next time I'll position myself. I'm just kidding.
Next time I'll get my ring light and I'll look all glowing. I won't be like half on the. I'll get my ergonomics better.
I don't even think that my camera's straight.
It's okay. Mine's for sure not. And I have so many frozen screens in my video that who knows what it's going to look like when we watch it later, but that'll be the fun. So
Right.
thank you for your willingness to always play and be a contribution with your laughter and your creativity. I appreciate
Heck yeah. Of course.
Wait to see what's up next.
Thank you so much.
Michelle. Talk to you soon.